Today, let's take a journey down memory lane and remember our first time. Today on Reinventing You. I'm Amelia, and I've been reinventing myself for a good 5 or 6 months. I want to help guide you by creating a sacred space for you to learn how to transform yourself, to figure out if you need to reinvent yourself, and to help provide an atmosphere where you can discover hope, joy, purpose, and fulfillment. If this resonates with you, please give me a thumbs up so that I know I'm on the right track. Remember the first time you fell in love? Remember how the other person just seemed to be your soulmate? It was perfect. It was like you could hear the birds singing in the trees. Remember the first time you moved away from home and you felt like an adult and you didn't have to be under your parents' rule anymore. You could create your own schedules and your own boundaries or not have any at all. Remember when you felt young and attractive and fit and the whole world was ahead of you and you felt such hope for the future. So what happened? Where did all that satisfaction and hope and joy and promise for the future go? I think life happened and reality happened and we had to do some hard work. Now that doesn't mean there aren't some benefits with that. I'm not just saying we all should be new and do everything new and it should always be fresh and exciting. But there are some times in our lives where we have to say, look, it's time to go back and renew. It's time to go back and transform myself. It's time to go back and reinvent myself. Now, is it possible to create again those feelings of the first time, whether it was moving away or falling in love or just feeling young and out to conquer the world? I believe you can't go back again, but there are ways to reclaim some of those feelings. And the benefit now is all of those feelings and all of that viewpoint is tempered with your wisdom and experience that you've had through life. You aren't going to look 16 again. You can't have a second first love. And you've probably been grown up for a while now, especially when you're in the second half of life. However, joy, purpose, fulfillment, and even hope have no age limit. There are no weight requirements and there are no specific job titles. These things don't depend on outside forces as much as they depend upon you. I remember when I first felt called to preach. I was on cloud 9. I mean, I felt like, the clouds had truly parted and there's this big light. I mean, this didn't really happen, but I mean, that's the way I felt, like a big spotlight and the angels were singing and I just was like, wow, I feel called to preach. And I would be telling people and they'd be so excited for me until I got to the people who were in the process of starting their own ministry. And they would just look at me like, what is wrong with you? Don't you know that feeling isn't going to last? Once you have your first church, once you have to go back and do all this schooling, and once you have your first confrontation in a meeting, you are going to realize it's not just singing angels and beautiful choruses. In fact, I think some of the seasoned pastors would just like nod and keep their mouths shut. They knew what was going to happen down the road, but they didn't want to spoil my enthusiasm. When your dreams meet reality, a lot of times the wonder and your expectations and your hopes kind of take a nosedive, and in my experience, they go down from there. Okay, so here's one of the drawbacks of being a pastor. You get up and you preach this wonderful sermon and you think, I've reached some people for Jesus Christ. I've moved people to be better human beings. I have shared the gospel. What a great sermon. And you go to the back of the sanctuary and people are coming out and they're greeting you. And they say, you have such a great speaking voice. Or you have such beautiful hair and eyes. Hello? Did you not hear the words coming out of my mouth? I mean, maybe my intonation was great, but did you not hear what I was trying to say? It was always so debilitating. It's like, why am I getting up and preaching again? And I also discovered that a lot of times in the church that members just want to be right. They want their way. They want their way to be the way everybody else sees it. And they would just rather be right. Love had nothing to do with it. And believe me, how many times did I hear people say, well, I'll be here a long time, but you're only going to be here for so long. So my opinion should weigh more than yours. Now, some of you may have the ideal picture of the cleric if you ever read any of Jan Karen's books, and maybe there are some clergy out there who live this idyllic lifestyle that everybody loves them, and they deal with trauma and drama and everything in calm and collected and kind of humorous ways, and everything is golden. But I don't know a lot of pastors like that. The truth is, being a pastor is rather isolating. It's lonely, it's frustrating, and there's so many temptations out there, from abuse of power to misuse of funds to simply be using the being in a spotlight or a fishbowl as a way to make yourself look better. Forget being humble, it's about looking good. You'd think the people who are supposed to be closest to God would be more fulfilled, more joyful, more full of purpose, but sadly, because we're all human, that is not the case. Now, I'm not putting down any one denomination or any one type of pastor. I'm just saying this has been my experience. Now, if you're watching this channel and you find yourself in some kind of career that feels like you are being inauthentic, you're burned out, you don't have purpose, you don't have joy, you're not fulfilled in any way, shape, or form, it's just something to bring money and to pay bills, what can you do about it? What would it take to begin anew? Now, it may not mean leaving your current job, but you may be able to find ways to bring newness and new purpose and new life where you are. I chose to retire early. I chose to take, not just a cut in pay, but a complete absence of pay. I chose to reinvent myself because I knew that if I stayed where I was, I would simply fall again into the same patterns. Even if I changed churches, I was not going to renew myself where I was. That's something that I realized about myself. Am I always making the best choices? Are all my fears gone? Am I busy making others happy? No, no, no. Am I being courageous? Do I let my goals come before others' expectations? Am I living authentically? Yes, yes, yes. I haven't solved all of life's problems. I'm not through reinventing myself, but I've done some things in my life to create a space in order to live a life of fulfillment, purpose, and joy. And that is what I want for you. I think if you go back and renew yourself, that your joy will be more lasting, your confidence will be deeper, and you will discover a wonderful purpose for you and your future. If you have not joined this community, please subscribe today. I'm Amelia Sims. This is Reinventing You. I hope you have a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. See you on the next one.